If you're a content creator who's working entirely on your own, meaning you don't have somebody to take your photos or your videos, you are in the right place. I'm a professional photographer and videographer who is a solo content creator, meaning I don't have anybody helping me while I am creating my own photos and videos. This channel is dedicated to helping you grow and learn. And in this video, I'm breaking down 5 things you need to be keeping in mind when taking photos by yourself on location. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give you is to show up very early. Your goal is to get there before other people are there. So if it's an on-location area where you are going to have lots of people, if you show up early, there's less competition, there's less people to watch you and judge you, and you're not going to have to worry as much about where you're setting up or what you're doing. You're not going to have to worry about people stealing your tech or bumping into it because there's going to be more space because there will be less people there. Now, this may mean showing up an hour before an event opens, or a location doesn't open to the public until a certain time. You're going to show up an hour or 2 early just to make sure you're there before anybody else. People don't like to be the first ones to the party, so the ones that are the ones that have more space than everybody else. So take that into consideration and plan it when you're going out on location. And remember, the earlier you go, the less people will be there, the less people will be around to bump into your tech, to steal your tech, to cause problems, to give you grief, or to judge you and watch you while you're doing the things. So not only do you get more space, but you get a lot less judgment while you're there early too. Another really important tip is to use a tripod and a remote shutter release. Some people will set up their phone or their camera on a tripod, or they'll prop it up and they'll do like an interval timer, which is fine, or they're running back and forth to hit that button with the timer and then they just have to keep moving. That wastes a lot of time and energy. We don't want to do that. So invest in a really good shutter release. And this is just like a little clicker that can attach to your camera or to your phone. You're going to want to look for a Bluetooth one, and then you just have to hide that hand, or you can set it to a timer on the remote shutter release and tuck it in a pocket. You can tuck it in your bra strap in the back. You can do something to hide it. You can even put it on the ground if you have the ability to then clone those things out later on. So use a remote shutter release so that you're not running back and forth to that camera or having to depend on that interval timer and just waiting and hoping that it catches things at the right time. You are in full control with a remote shutter release, and you can find those on Amazon or any tech website. Very easy to get, very cheap. Just make sure you're looking for the one that goes and connects to your specific camera model or your specific phone model to make sure that you are going to like it, and make sure you read reviews. And if you've got questions on those, you can ask me down below. I am more than happy to interact with that for you. My third tip is all about angles. You want to make sure you're looking for unique ways of shooting this, because you're not going to know what you like best until later on. Yes, we can look at things on our tiny little camera screens or our tiny little phone screens, but until we get it on a computer, on something bigger, we're not really going to know what we like best. It definitely looks different in tiny form than in larger form. So shoot at different angles. You are going to want to place your camera in different positions to get the things behind you in different places. You're going to want to look for where the sun looks really good, where the mountains behind you look really cool, where the architecture over you looks amazing, and try different angles. Take a lot of different positions for your camera source so that you can get different views of this. And again, if you're there early, you're going to have more time, more access, and more space to be able to play around. So look for those different angles and try them all. Take a handful in this section, a handful in this section, a handful in this section, and you are going to find things that you like in there. And that brings me to the fact that you need to overshoot. If you're doing this by yourself, you're not going to get the full view of what you're doing until after the fact. So always overshoot. Shoot more photos than you think you're going to need. Shoot more angles. Spend more time there. Do more than you think you need, because when you get there and you finish and you're done and you've left, if you go through your images, you're going to find you don't like things you thought you liked, and you like things that you didn't realize you would like. And if you don't overshoot, you're not going to have enough, or you're not going to have what you want, or you're going to wish that you could go back when you can't. So overshoot every chance you get. If you're doing this by yourself, it is drastically different than working with a photographer or somebody helping you, because they know, they can see, they can experience it in real time, and there's a pretty good understanding of what you will and will not like. If you're doing it by yourself, overshoot. Just because you have it doesn't mean you have to use it, but if you don't have it, you can't use it. Always shoot more than you need. Now, in my last video, I actually broke down part of this next tip. So if you haven't hit the subscribe and notification bell yet, now is your time to do that. You're gonna wanna go back and watch that video in just a minute. I'll link it down below for you. And you wanna make sure that you're here anyway, because I'm dropping daily content on how you can level up on social media and take the time commitment out of being present on social so you can get back to running your business without stressing over creating really valuable, engaging content. So stick around, lots of things for you. I've got links down below, check those out. Now, with that in mind, you want to make sure that you're simultaneously taking your photos and filming video. You want to make sure you're documenting it both ways because you need to be using it in multiple ways. In the last video, I broke down ways that you can be using different events in your life and doing one piece of content. So you're filming this one photo shoot and there's 5 different ways you can spin it off for really valuable content. And within the context of that, I showed you how if you're using your phone and you only have one phone, one camera source, how you can be doing both video and photos at the exact same time. I gave you a cheat in that one, so go check that out. Now you want to make sure you're documenting this to show the behind the scenes because Reels are really important on Instagram and TikToks are really important. Even YouTube Shorts are very important, and you want to have that documentation so that you can use this one event, this one photo shoot in multiple ways. Now, quick bonus here. If you are taking your photos on your own, there are a couple things I want you to be aware of. If you're out on your own, you are on your own, so you have to be mindful of everything. I want you to make sure that you're safe and you're paying attention to the areas around you. I want you to make sure that your gear is safe because as you are taking these photos, it's real easy to focus in on taking those photos and not notice the person walking the dog or the person getting out of their car or somebody walking very close to your gear if your back happens to be to your camera to get that beautiful hair shot and somebody might accidentally bump into it or worse. So you want to make sure you're very mindful of your surroundings, but in that same vein, be mindful of your surroundings because as you focus in on, I have to get this exact shot, you may miss the glorious sun coming around that building or you may miss the way that the breeze is moving that tree just so perfectly and you want to angle it in a different way very quickly to get that footage. So make sure you're mindful of what's going on around you, you are staying safe and you know what's going on so that you can make the most out of your photo shoots. I go out all the time by myself in remote locations and I love doing this to create that content. I am perfectly safe, I have never felt threatened, and I hope that you are just being mindful as you are going out to create this content as well. Remember, photo shoots are for your social content, so you want to be overshooting, taking as much as possible, making sure that you feel good about what you've got because you're the one who's going to be working with this content over and over and over again as you're creating iterations of this for your social. And go back and watch that last video because I spin 5 different ways you can be using this, also applicable to the photos you're taking. So make sure you go watch that and check out the other content. I'll link it down below. Make sure you follow along with the channel. Daily videos are being dropped to help you level up all your social content, take the time commitment out of it, and make sure that you literally have things handed to you. So all you have to do is fill in some blanks, film some scripts, put them out on social, and get back to running your business. I got everything covered for you with IG Reels for Business and Live Stream Action Plan. So hit those up down below. If you've got questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.